You're live. Okay, let's get everything set up here, shall we? Um, okay, this is going to be fun but ugly. Uh, so, everybody in my little circle knows that I hate Rob Zombie. I hate his music. I've never been a fan. I think he's a lot of things. I'm just not a fan. So when he started making movies, I did see one of his movies, and it was everything that I expected from Rob Zombie. And so I really never touched anything again. When he decided to remake the Halloweens, I was like, oh fuck. So, but since then, I have been accused by a few people that perhaps I misjudged or judged him unfairly and stuff like that. So someone made a deal with me. Um, I told them how badly I hated the movie that I did saw. I can't even remember the name of it, but they were like, "Well, his movies are pretty cheap. You buy a lot of movies, so get Halloween 1 and 2 because I love Halloween. It's my one of my favorite franchises, and I was really upset that Rob Zombie had done it. So get Halloween 1 and 2 and give it a fair shot, and get the Devil's Reject trilogy, whatever they call that. I know that it's the Devil's Reject, and I think Tree from Hell, and another one. I'll get them. I do already have Devil's Rejects. So I do already have Devil's Rejects, and I guess I will get Three from Hell and whatever the other one is. I'll have to look it up and see. But I'll do that. So tonight, I'm going to have a little fun, and it's going to be ugly and pretty. I'll say up front, this movie is okay. I enjoyed watching it, but there are, of course, a lot of issues, and I hate Rob Zombie, so I am going to trash him um, because I just can't help it. But yeah, we're going to talk about Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, unrated. We're going to talk about it, and I just watched it last night. I think it came in a couple days ago. So I sat down and I watched it, and this movie is from 2007, and it stars Scout Taylor-Compton. I guess she's the slutty sister. Malcolm McDowell, who's, I guess, like the Loomis character. Taylor Maine. I like Taylor Maine. I liked him as Jason. Jason? Michael. I liked Taylor Maine's Michael. I'm sorry, but I did. I really liked his Michael. I thought it was great. Um, so yeah, I'm cool with that. So now let's talk about it. What should I do? First I want to trash the fuck out of Rob Zombie. I can't stand the motherfucker. I don't like him. I can't stand his music. I don't like his movies. Other than them being mediocre, that's what it is. Very generic, very mediocre. His music is generic and mediocre. His movies are generic and mediocre. But I promised I would give it a fair shake, and I'm not going to. And I agree. It's unfair for me to say that kind of stuff without having seen them. So I'm going to watch those five. I promised I would watch those five, and that's what I'm going to do. Um, I was shocked, I admit. I'd heard all the jokes from the horror circle of channels that I watch. I've heard all the jokes, and I've heard all of the hate, and I've heard all the praise. I've heard all of the, oh my God, this his movie, his versions are a completely separate universe. He turned the story into Duck Dynasty's Halloween, and I agree with that. Uh, I don't think outside of Deliverance have I seen anyone so intentionally make a trashy redneck family, aside from Duck Dynasty or something. So, that was shocking. But, here comes the first mistake. Now, in the original Halloweens, Michael is a psycho without reason. He is a born psycho. The first mistake, in my opinion, in this movie is that I felt very, very sorry for Michael. I would have killed some motherfuckers too, and that's really not what you want to do. Um, is to gain sympathy for your villain to that extent. I wanted him to kill the sister. I wanted him to kill the dad. I wanted him to kill that bully at school. I wanted him to kill his mother. He didn't kill his mother, but I wanted him to kill his mother because how any mother could allow their child to be raised by um, that scumbag that she was with is beyond me. So, I mean, I'm not going to let her off the hook. She is part of it. She's right there. Yeah, she seems sweet. She seemed to love her kids and stuff like that. But my God. And it had nothing to do with her. I have no problem with sex workers. I don't care if you're a prostitute or a stripper or anything like that. You can be an intelligent, wonderful, um, moral person and still be a prostitute or a stripper or anything like that. I have no problem with that. Um, because I've had too many of them look at me and go, "Hey, I can make $2,000 a week being a stripper, or I can make 150 bucks at McDonald's a week, and I can't live." I understand you, sister or brother. So you do that. I mean, if you can handle it, and more power to you. I have no problem with that. So her being a stripper was almost like Rob Zombie put that in there as a extra trashy thing. But a lot of us don't think that that's trashy. I don't think that sex workers or people who work in the sex industry are automatically trashy. So that really didn't do what he intended, if that's what he intended to do. But the family itself, yes, the original Halloween did not give Michael a choice. Michael was just a psycho. He killed his sister for no reason. Um, in this one, though, he had every reason. I would have killed that bitch. I'd have taped down that man and killed him too. I'd have killed that bully. Granted, I mean, maybe not in reality, but you know what I'm saying. I had a great deal of sympathy for Michael, and I really don't think you're supposed to do that in a horror movie, are you? I mean, what little sympathy? I mean, I had sympathy for Jason in the Friday the 13th series, but it's not as in your face, so you can kind of let it slide. But at this one, Rob Zombie's Halloween, man, you made me completely and totally empathize and sympathize with Michael. I'm not really sure if that's the appropriate thing to do in a slasher movie, but whatever. It is what it is. So yeah, that's my feelings on that. And to Rob Zombie himself, well, hey, you want to make movies as vehicles for your wife? Okay, I can give you a thumbs up with that because at least you're financially intelligent because using your wife in all of your movies, that's pretty cool. I mean, it means you don't have to hire an actress. You know what I'm saying? Um, Yeah, I just slammed the hell out of his wife. But so what's another problem? See, I want to get all the ugly trash out of the way before I go good. So, oh, nudity. It's the fucking unrated version, dude. It's the fucking unrated version. Now, here's a problem. You know, we have to, gay men and heterosexual women, we've always, those two groups of people have always had to put up with massive amounts of boobs and female nudity and stuff in our face that we have to kind of ignore it. And a lot of slashers in the horror genre and horror movies have been nice to us. They do kind of balance out the nudity so as not to seem so misogynistic and sexist. Um, this movie was pure Rob Zombie. Exactly what I would expect from Rob Zombie. This movie is like extremely misogynistic and sexist where its nudity is concerned. And that, you know, that really irritated me. It's irritating enough in most horror movies, but in this one, I've had lots of heterosexual male and female friends and family. I've got three straight brothers. And even like my brother, who's really into horror, said this movie embarrassed him, like a lot of horror movies do where nudity is concerned. I mean, come on, just let me talk to you for a second, you straight guys out there. Are you really that thing? Are you really that? I mean, if you had any idea how snowflakey and wimpy and scared it makes you look, I mean, does a boy's ass really send you into some kind of psychotic fit or what? So I know when my brother saw this, he said that when I did this video, he said, please give a message to Rob Zombie. His ass might be so nasty from the way he looks that he may have sex with his clothes on, but most it's not a very common thing. Heterosexual men and women, or gay men and women, or lesbians, or anybody else, they really don't have sex with one partner stripped to the bone and the other one fully dressed. Do you know how ridiculously obvious that looks? In every sex scene in this movie, the women are stripped to the bone and the guys keep their clothes on. Nobody does that. I mean, you might be trying to achieve the the Mile High Club, or you might be doing something naughty in public or something like that, where the couple may engage in activity with their clothes still on or partially on. But these scenes were played out sex scenes in the privacy of one's home, and the guys wouldn't even take their clothes off. There is not even a hint of a crack of a boy's ass in this entire movie, but there's full frontal female nudity. You, Rob Zombie, are a pig, but that's to be expected. Oh, well, we've got to cater to the market. Do you have any idea how many female horror movie fans there are? Do you have any idea that there are other demographics on this planet besides heterosexual men? And I don't know. See, I'm on a rant because this was such a prime example of what I'm talking about. I mean, let's go back to like 1980s sleepaway camp. Cute little TNA scenes. You got chicks' boobs and stuff for the straight guys and lesbians, and you got that little skinny dip scene where all the boys run out and jump into the pond, with nothing on. So you got a little TNA for everybody, and there's a lot of movies. Friday the 13th. There's a lot of movies, even from way back then, that have equal TNA for both. So I was really shocked with that because considering that this is Rob Zombie, I guess I shouldn't have been because he is a pig. But, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised by it because it's Rob Zombie. But I was really blown away with how sexist and misogynistic the sex scenes in this movie were. You don't like guys' butts? That's fine. I don't like chicks' tits neither. And yet I have to look at them 24/7 in every horror movie that I have to watch. So why can't you cut me some slack and stop being complete and total pussies and acting like the sight of a guy's ass scares the absolute fuck out of you? Because get therapy, okay? Get therapy. If a boy's butt scares the shit out of you that bad, seek help, okay? Because there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry, but okay. All right. I got that over with. Now, moving on. So, as I've trashed the hell out of Zombie, what about the movie? Here's the twist. It's pretty damn good. I liked it. I liked it. I love Tyler Mane as Michael. If it's the same thing I had to do with Interview with a Vampire. Um, it's the same thing I had to do with Interview with a Vampire. And that is, when Interview with a Vampire came out, me and my friends went and seen it, and we stood up and walked out in like 6 minutes after that movie started because they had changed Anne Rice's books. They had heteroed up the characters. Okay, let me give you a little heads up about Interview with the Vampire, a little off track here. Louis Lestat had a boyfriend. He never had a girlfriend. Lestat had a boyfriend before he was changed into a vampire. Okay? While he was a non vampire, he had a boyfriend named Nicky. They were in love. They moved together to Paris. That's where Lestat was kidnapped and taken and turned into a vampire. Louis did not have a fucking wife who died in childbirth. There is no such thing. That is not in the book. Louis did not go out looking for death because his wife died in childbirth. Louis went out looking for death because he had promised his parents that he would take care of his, I think what you could probably describe as autistic brother. And instead, he let his brother have a fit and fall down the stairs and die. And it upset him so bad, he went out to get, to welcome death. He did not have a wife. She did not die during childbirth. They totally heteroed up the characters for the straight audience, I guess, because straight people can't handle the truth. I don't know. It's fucked up. So, do I like this movie? I like this movie a lot. I love Interview with a Vampire too. Once I understood that I had to watch that movie as a separate interpretation of the story from the book. This is not Halloween. It uses the same characters, names, a couple of them. It uses the name. It uses the basic story. Very, very basic. But if you view this movie outside of the Halloween franchise, I liked it a lot. The kid was nuts, but he was driven nuts. The family was absolute trash. Turning them into white trash was kind of weird, but oh, it's okay. I live in the South, so I'm okay with the white trash. To the left of me, to the right of me, and some would say sitting right here, white trash everywhere. So I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem with that. Um, but, you know, is it completely, uh, so that doesn't bother me. I liked this story. I like this story a lot. Aside from, like I said, me not liking Rob Zombie and me not liking the misogynistic nudity in this movie, I would have been totally fine with all the female nudity if you could have just shown everybody else, please, people don't have sex like that. They don't. Like my brother made a funny point though, and that is that Rob Zombie looks so nasty. Maybe his ass is so nasty that they do have sex with his clothes on and she's completely naked. So that might be funny, but you know, I don't really think of it that way. But okay, that's fine. You know, I could accept that answer. It makes sense. But in any event, um, I love Malcolm McDowell played a really good Loomis in this, although I think he wasn't as int- I don't think he was like as intellectual, and I don't think he made as much sense as Loomis and the original storyline, does. Um, but in any event, I liked Malcolm McDowell in this movie. I thought that he was really cool. It didn't make a lot of sense when he suddenly, you know, when he got a hold of him and at the psychiatric thing. You see, the Loomis in the original storyline, he had a reason to believe him to be the embodiment of evil and all the stuff that Loomis says in the original storyline. And that's because Michael did do it without prompting. He was almost like born evil. Um, why this one? In this version, Loomis never seems to really touch on the boy's atmosphere. He just comes to this conclusion that he is the embodiment of evil without taking into the effect, the fact of what we all saw. We saw 30 minutes of the way he lived, the abuse that he suffered and stuff like that. But did Loomis ever mention that? You see, he just came to the conclusion that he was the embodiment of evil, and that works fine. That works fine in the original story because yeah, it's true. He killed his sister for because he was a psycho. This one though, little Michael, he killed them all for not much more reason than I would. I mean, they were some seriously abusive, sick people, and him being raised like that. Go look at crime shows on YouTube. You'll find people who's probably been in that exact same situation and did close to the same thing. So that was a little weird. Loomis, like, coming at it like he is the embodiment of evil. And let me tell you, what kind of mental institution lets an inmate or a patient have the kind of room that Michael had with the dirty bed and the mask all over the walls? Okay, I mean, you really do make me um, suspension of disbelief is big in this movie. Because when I saw Michael's room after he was gone, I'm like, I know that people they let patients do stuff like that, but he's a violent person who had murdered a nurse and all kinds of people, and he's got masks hanging around, and this his bed looked like it hadn't been cleaned in a decade. So I don't know. It was all weird, but I understand that this version is supposed to be a little grittier, darker, tongue in cheek kind of stuff. So, I kind of let it slide. And shocking. Somebody just told me that there was somebody said something in the chat, but I don't see nothing in the chat. So it's weird. My chat is showing nothing, so I can't answer whoever. A friend of mine is on Steam, and he told me that somebody said something in the chat, but I don't see anything. But in any event, I'll answer it later if when it's done. But so yeah, I really liked this movie, which surprised me. I give it like a 5.5 out of 10 because in the end, it is really very generic. It is very generic because of the generic things that he does. The generic, typical misogynistic nudity, the generic, typical plot holes, Loomis thinking he's the embodiment of evil, even though we saw how he was raised. The mistake of making us have so much empathy for little Michael, you know. But at the same time, there's a lot of saves in this movie. Um, if you look at it separately from the Halloween series, which I do, that's how I was able to enjoy this movie. I looked at it completely separately. It's a different timeline. It's a different reimaging of the foundational story of Halloween, and that's okay. I accept it as that, and that's the way that I watched it because I promised that I would give these five Rob Zombie movies a chance. So that's what I am trying to do. And it worked. I do not have near the hate for this movie that I thought that I would have. I actually like it as a mediocre, average, cool slasher. It's got some fantastic kills. I didn't understand all the guys' wigs. I mean, I'm into heavy metal. I love guys with long hair. So it's not that. It's just that the guys in the movie all had like these really obvious wigs. And I'm like, why don't you just hire actors with long hair? You know, why do they all have to have long hair anyway? But even if they didn't, why didn't you just hire an actor with long hair? Those were some really fucked up wigs. The girl's boyfriend that he beat to death with a bat, that was a terrible wig. Then there was the other one in the warehouse type place. Who was that? Annie? Um, her boyfriend with that black wig. It was so obviously, it looked like it was something bought out of the dollar store. It's really, what did you do that for? Why didn't you just let them have whatever had, hair? Well, I guess they were supposed to be white trash rednecks, but most white trash rednecks I know don't have long hair. They have that fad these days of the skinhead shaved head with the beatnik beard thing. So I don't know. Well, this was 2007. That fad really hadn't took hold. But even back then, most rednecks, don't have long hair. They usually have those skinhead military cuts. But, who knows? I keep like bouncing between praising and bitching about this movie. I told you at the beginning, I fucking hate Rob Zombie. So I'm finding it very hard to not go and bitch at him some more. But no, 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 seriously, I like this movie. Okay, you were right. There's a girl in my horror circle named Miss Carter. Miss Carter, you're right. I misjudged this movie. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. I really love Taylor Maine as Michael. I really love Taylor Maine's Michael. The acting was fine. It was disgusting, but that was because thing. And again, I will give kudos to Rob Zombie. Put your wife in every movie as the main lead character. Saves you from having to hire a real actor. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty smart of you, actually. But Halloween 2007, Rob Zombie's Halloween, unrated version, which made absolutely no sense to me. I don't know what was unrated about it. I guess maybe that full frontal nudity shot of that poor girl whose boyfriend didn't have the courtesy to take his pants off when he had sex with her. That was funny. But yes, so Halloween, unrated, 2007, Rob Zombie's Halloween. I give it a five and a half, maybe a 6 out of 10. It's kind of mediocre, kind of generic, but I don't have near the hate that I thought that I would have in it. And I will do this same thing for part two, which I heard is even more causes more even more division. So I guess we'll see that when I get to see that. That should actually it should be sitting in my mailbox right now. I do have the Devil's Rejects, and I will buy the other two that goes with that. Some kind of family trilogy, I guess, whatever. I will do it. I promised I would do it, and so I will do it. So anyone who dropped by or anyone who sees this later who wants to say I told you so, you can. I still trashed him though. I still got plenty of trash for him. But yes, this movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I do like it. And it is okay, and we'll see about number two. So thank you for dropping by or watching this later. And I'm sorry the chat's not showing anything, but it's not showing me anything. But I will see you in the next one. Stay scary, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.